Alright, what's good, folks? Welcome back to another What If, yo. It's Dark Dre 19, yo. And I do believe this has been a long time coming. What if Deku was Godzilla's reincarnation, part 6? Now, yeah, where we last left off on this one, I do believe it was the final exams where the last joint was Deku and Bakugo versus All Might. And, you know, as you probably heard from the last part, it didn't go as well, as Bakugo wasn't really much of a good partner, as he kept butting heads with Deku until, you know, Deku had to put him down eventually. Or was it All Might? I don't remember. But eventually, in the end, it was a Deku versus All Might fight, as I believe did Deku win? I don't know. I think he did. But I think Deku won, and you know, that's pretty much where I left off, on where All Might took back One For All from Bakugo, saying that he wasn't much of a worthy successor. So yeah, we start this story. We start this story with Deku sitting in a room in UA waiting for All Might for some reason after the final exam, because, you know, for some reason after the final exams, when everyone was going to class and Bakugo was taken to Recovery Girl, All Might stopped Deku in his tracks while Mothra would be clinging to Deku's arm to Momo's, as Momo would be staring in jealousy. As All Might would say, "Young Midoriya, may I speak with you privately in that room, please?" As Deku would just nod, saying, "Sure, All Might. Martha, go ahead to class without me." As he would pat her head, as Martha would begin to glow in enjoyment. So yeah, as Mothra and Momo would be following the other classmates, Deku would head inside the room as All Might waits for the rest of the class to leave the hallway, so he can, you know, properly make sure that they are alone, as All Might would head inside after Deku. So as Deku would, you know, sit down, waiting for All Might to sit down, as he would, you know, speak up, saying, "Okay, All Might, what do you want from me? I hope this has nothing to do with Bakugo. You know he was asking for that ass whooping." That's all I'm going to say. "No, young Midoriya, this has nothing to do with him. It has something to do with something I want to give you." So, you know, I'm not gonna... So yeah, as you already could know, All Might would begin to explain One For All and all of its properties. And, you know, the fact that Bakugo was his successor until he realized that Bakugo wasn't fit for it, and that a man named All For One and that he had a brother and all that crap, you know what I'm saying? All Might would, you know, explain all that. I don't know if All Might knew about the brother or anything like that. Maybe he did, I don't remember. But he pretty much explains all that. As All Might speaks up once more, say, "Sorry. So, will you accept this quirk from me, young Midoriya?" As Deku would, you know, kind of sit there and think on this for a minute, as he would just, smirk, then look up towards All Might, saying, well, who am I to turn down an offer from the number one hero? So yeah, All Might would smile at this as he would give Deku the hair that he plucked from Bakugo and tell Deku to eat the hair. As Deku would only look towards All Might with a confused look. So yeah, while in Class 1A, Mothra would be surrounded by the other girls as they would be talking about how Mothra is pretty close to Deku, as Mina would speak up saying, so, you and Deku, you guys are pretty close, huh? Is he like your boyfriend or something? And, before Mothra could even say anything, Momo would speak up saying, of course not, Mina. What the hell are you talking about? As, with that quick response, Momo would begin to cover her mouth and blush pretty hard in embarrassment, as Mina would only smile to herself as she can see that there are two people after Deku's heart. But the rest of the girls are having their conversations and all, and Mina would be teasing Momo about this, as the other guys would be having their little conversations, until UA would begin to shake violently as a EMP like blast would go all over UA as an alarm would go off. And as the building's shaking, it might seem like an earthquake to them, and you already know how the school teaches when earthquakes would happen. You pretty much hide under your desk or hide under something sturdy that will at least keep you safe. And Class A can hear the outside as other students and some teachers would be freaking out as they believe it's a villain attack, as Froppy would be looking out the window, seeing heroes storming inside, as the violent shaking would finally stop, and blue like EMP blast would go away. So yeah, kind of escalated real quick, pretty quick at that point, as the heroes would be evacuating the school, getting all the students out, moving all kinds of rubble, seeing that nobody's that hurt, just a few bruises and scratches and all, no one's dead, which is a good thing, as as a hero would go to the source of this of this blast, as they would see a small crater in the middle of UA, where where All Might, where an unconscious All Might is holding a knocked out Deku with blue electricity all over him as he's, fidgeting and all. With fidgeting it all as foam comes out of his mouth. But, what freaks the heroes out the most is the explosive damage on the wall behind Deku and All Might, as they would see a shape of a monster. So yeah, we would move on. So time skip as we move on to All Might, who has recovered from his minor injuries as he's sitting next to a comatose Izuku Midoriya in the hospital, as Izuku's parents and most of his classmates would come in, as Inko would look towards her son unconscious, and then towards All Might saying, "What the hell happened to my son?" As All Might, not wanting to give away the fact that he gave Deku one for all, would respond saying, "I'm not sure, Miss Midori. Me and Izuku was only having a conversation until, well, it seems that his quirk just suddenly went haywire and just blew up." As Inko pretty much hearing the bullshit in, All Might's voice, saying that makes no sense, until, the father would, step in, Deku's father. And I know that, folks were saying that, why do you keep calling him Deku's father? Just give him a name. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm not gonna give him a name, not yet, because it adds, saying that it's his dad and all, just adds to the mystery of who his father is. We know who his father is, and who he's the leader of, but they don't know that. So yeah, I'm gonna keep saying Deku's father to add to the mystery, and if you don't like it, and just fuck off. But anyway, Deku's dad would speak up saying, Inko, calm down. This won't help Izuku at all." As Inko would look towards her husband saying, "Calm down. Our boy's in a coma and we don't know when he's gonna wake up." As she would, begin to tear up a little. As the dad would say, "I know, but I'm sure Deku will be up quite soon. He's tough, you know that." So yeah, as the father is comforting Inko, the whole class would be extremely worried, as both Mothra and Momo would be staring at the unconscious Deku. As the father would look towards Mothra, as he knows that she can sense Deku's life slowly fading away. So, as time passes and everyone begins to leave, the dad would find All Might outside of the hospital room, holding his head in his hands. As he would, just tell Inko to wait for him in the car, as he needs to do something first. As Inko would just nod. So yeah, the father would make his way towards All Might as he just sits next to him. And they would just sit there in quiet for just a little while until the father would finally speak up, saying, "They're not going to be able to save my son, All Might." As All Might would, kind of be a little shocked hearing this, saying, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" As the father would say, "Listen, All Might, I'm the leader of something that's been around for centuries. Hell, even longer than that. And we know you and your special quirk better than anyone. And, I wasn't really expecting you to give it to my son, but it's not your fault, okay? You know your quirk is a bit of an enhancer, but you didn't know that it would pretty much skyrocket my son's power at the point where his own body literally couldn't take it. But, that's besides the point. I can't tell you everything, but we need to kidnap my son in order to save him. And when I say we, I mean you. Most of my members actually work for the security here, so getting him out shouldn't be much of a problem." As All Might, hearing this whole explanation would be quite shocked and dumbfounded, as he would say, "This sounds insane, Mr. Doria, and I can't just kidnap a kid from a hospital. I'm sorry, but I won't do that." As the father would look towards Deku. He would look towards All Might with a serious face. The serious face that All Might only seen on Deku when, Deku is ready to absolutely destroy somebody. So, All Might can see where Deku gets it. As the dad would speak up, saying, "Well, I'm not giving you a choice, All Might. If my son dies, you will pay. Just know that a lot of my members are heroes, policemen, and news reporters. And it doesn't stop there, my friend. And with a mere snap of my finger, I can ruin your life. But I don't want to do that, All Might. So, about you kidnapping my son, we will do it at night. Here's an address. You will meet me there." As All Might, seeing that he quite literally have no choice in the matter, as he has no idea what Deku's father is gonna do. And he doesn't have to believe in what Deku's father is saying, because he has no evidence of what his father is. But seeing how Deku is so much of a anomaly, he doesn't really want to mess with his. So he has no choice. So later that night, All Might would pretty much do the deed, kidnapping young Midoriya, finding the address that he's been given by his father, and bringing Deku there. As Deku's father and a few armed guards with military grade weapons would be there waiting as All Might would finally land, as the guards would quickly aim their weapons at All Might, as the father would wave his, simply wave his hand as they would put down their guns. So yeah, you know that Deku's dad has a lot of influence, and it only makes sense since your cult has been around for basically centuries. So you're gonna have like a lot of influence in pretty much everything. So the father would, as he tells his men to put down the guns, he would walk up towards All Might, as All Might would speak up saying, "Okay, I brought your son, so what do we have to do now?" As the father would just look towards All Might saying, "You can leave. It's best that we're not seen together. But All Might, thank you. This is a good thing you're doing. You just don't know it yet." So as All Might would jump out of there, the father would pick up his son as he would lay him down on a boat, as the guards would get on their speeders as they would follow the father as they go deep far into the ocean. And it would take a few hours until the father would finally get to the right spot where his son is needed. As he would stop his boat and look towards his map, as he would say, "If this map is correct, we should be over the sunken city where my cult was born. The same cult that worship you, my son." As Deku would, still be unconscious, not hearing any of this. And he would check the map once more. Yes, this is it. So yeah, the father would begin to tie cinder blocks onto Deku as he pushes his son into the water. As he says, this city has the highest form of radiation ever. I know you go to those trenches for the raid, my son. It's in your nature. It heals you. It helps you grow strong. So hopefully, this will save you. As you know, the darkness of the ocean would overtake Deku, as the father wouldn't be able to see him, is not able to see him anymore. Hopefully this will save you. So, yeah. Another time skip. As it's been a month. A whole month since Deku's unconscious body has been missing from his hospital bed. Heroes have been on the hunt for him, believing that he may have been kidnapped, where they're not wrong. Inko is... oh, she's not kind of freaking out. She's going absolutely nuts as the father is, trying to comfort her. And, most of Class A is extremely worried. But Bakugo? Well, Bakugo has been on his high horse as, he may have lost One for All, which he feels that it's been holding him back anyway. But besides all that, he hasn't forgiven Deku for humiliating him at the sports festival and final exams. So, when he found out that Deku was, gone for like a whole month, he grinned like crazy, as he feels that the obstacle that was keeping him from the #1 spot is finally gone. And the only one feeling this way, as Todoroki sees that since Deku is gone, he can finally score with Mothra without Deku getting in the way. So yeah, those two could care less what happened to Deku, as the rest of the class are extremely worried about him. But even with all that ruckus, the class still has to move on, as they have no choice but to head towards the training camp, the forest training camp, as the bus ride there would be, very quiet. As some students would try to keep the class spirits up, but nothing's really working, as Aizawa would see that without Deku being there, without their de facto leader, the class is pretty much falling apart. As as Mothra, well, she has been even more dust than anyone, as she's always been able to sense Deku's life energy, but now it's like she's been cut off from it, as if Deku's dead. And it doesn't really help with Todoroki pretty much hitting on her every chance he gets. every chance he gets. Momo is quite sad herself. Believing that she would, never get the chance to tell Deku how she, feels. But, sorry. That's besides the point, as Class A would finally make it to the forest, meeting the wild pussycats. As, the cats would explain what the class will be doing, as they would throw all of them off a cliff. As the wild pussycats they're not really showing it, but they're a little saddened by Deku's disappearance, because they kind of want to see how strong that kid is, as after what they pretty much saw at the sports festival. Everyone would fall down the cliff as they has to make their way through the forest to get to the camp. And Mothra, not wanting to deal with Todoroki's meddling, would fly all the way to the camp. And with the insane speed that Mothra has with her wings, please note that she is way faster than Deku. She makes it there pretty quickly, while the rest of the class would have to go through the forest with some difficulty. And even with the one for all I gave Deku, she is still faster. So yeah. Unless Deku use, a certain special quirk that one for all has, that I won't mention because it's a spoiler. But yeah, moments would pass as the rest of the class would finally make it to the camp, as we would finally move on. They would meet Koda, as he would complain that he doesn't like heroes, and that you're all over here for money and all that crap and blah blah blah, as the only one who would be paying any attention to him is Mothra. But as that would be happening, Class 1B would finally make it, as you already know, bitch boy Modema would look towards 1A saying, well, I see that the 1A losers still don't have their little ace in the hole. Huh? Maybe the pressure, just finally got to him and he decided to quit. No need to, waste every hero's time thinking that he's been kidnapped. The loser. As a huge hand would slap Monoma at the back of his head, knocking him out. As we all know, that is, Kendo, as he would say, sorry about that, you guys. I'll make sure this idiot doesn't speak to you guys again. And don't worry. And don't worry about Deku. I'm sure whatever he's doing, he'll handle it, and he'll come back. So yeah, as the day would go on, the classes would be trading with their with their respected teacher as night would finally fall, as the class would be small until they wouldn't be sleeping. Were they playing like hide and seek or some shit for some reason? I don't know. I don't completely remember. But yeah, I think they were like playing some hide and seek shit. But most of the class would be too depressed to, do that. So yeah, most of them would be chilling as a fire would begin to engulf the forest. Villains would be attacking, while Pussycats and Aizawa would be, fighting, as the class would also be fighting, trying to defend themselves, while Mothra, she would be the only one who noticed that Coda is missing, as she would spread her wings and begin to take flight to find Coda. And as she speeds through the forest, she would actually be dousing out the flames with her wings. Well, not her wings, the wind, as she flies above the fire. And while flying, she would come across a huge man holding up a little boy, as she would see that it is Coda. And so, not wasting any time, Mothra would fire her antenna beams. Yeah, she has laser beams. Mothra has laser beams. Look it up. As she would fire her antenna beams at Muscular. We already know who it is, Muscular, as he is pretty much sent flying across the forest, hitting a few trees. As Mothra, not trying to waste any time fighting big burly bastard, would grab Coda and fly towards the camp. And finally, making it back to the camp, Mothra would, put Coda down, as Coda would, thank her, seeing her as a true hero, as she would meet up with her classmates. As Ochako would speak up extremely worried, saying that they kidnapped Bakugo. They kidnapped Bakugo without us even noticing. But Momo was able to put a tractor on them somehow. One of them somehow. As Ochako is extremely worried, because she already felt that she already lost one classmate. She doesn't want to lose another. As Mothra would comfort her, saying that, don't worry, Ochako, we'll speak to Mr. Aizawa and the other heroes, and we'll see what we can do. As Momo, he kind of looking off to the forest, seeing that it's absolutely wrecked, as she would kind of say to herself that none of this would be happening if Deku was here. And meanwhile, during that time, in the middle of the ocean, blue energy would be radiating, as it seems as if the ocean is glowing. But yeah, we move on to the League of Villains at their base, where Bakugo would be tied up in a chair, as Shigaraki and his people would be in front of him, as I would look towards Shigaraki with a smug face, saying, "Makes sense that you'd capture me. You villains always want to jump the strongest." As Shigaraki would speak up, saying, "No, we only captured you because you know someone we want to meet. Someone you've known for years. Izuku Midoriya, I believe that's his name." As Bakugo like, "What do you want with that weakling? He just has some fire-breathing quirk, nothing special." And Shigaraki was speaking, saying, No. That is not what my master told me. In fact, your friend is one of the most powerful creatures in the world. So, where is he? First of all, I don't know or care where that loser is. Second, what do you mean, one of? Are you implying that there are more like Deku? As Shigaraki would only begin to laugh, saying, "Kid, you have no idea what's coming." But before the conversation could go any further, All Might and some heroes would bust in the base as a fight would break out between the villains and the heroes. And as the fight goes on, Mothra would swoop in, grabbing Bakugo, and begin to fly away with him. And All Might would pretty much be going in against all the other villains easily, as the heroes would kind of be going in evenly matched with the villains. But before the fight could go any further, black smoke. Damn, I'm just tired. But yeah, black smoke would come out of all of the villains' mouths as they would pretty much disappear. And then an explosion would happen as the civilians and the UA students would be watching on their TVs or outside of the streets, watching the big screens, as news reporters would be reporting that All Might is fighting a black mask fellow. And as we already know how the fight goes, the epic fight when between them, the epic fight would go on as All Might would be overwhelmed fighting against All For One, as All Might would be kind of reaching his time limit during the fight, much faster than usual, since he had to give One For All to two people. And to everyone's horror, All Might would begin to deflate in power, as they would see skinny All Might, as he would still be fighting. As us All For One would just berate All Might, as saying that not as strong as you used to be, huh, Toshinori? Maybe Nana chose the wrong successor, don't you think? As All Might would just scowl in anger, as All For One would only begin to charge up with that weird you know what I'm talking about if you saw that big huge metal rock like arm thing that he does, as All Might would begin to charge his United States of Smash, as the two would finally clash. As and as the two clash, it would make a huge crater. A huge crater in between them. And the ground would shake. Broken rubble would fall, as the smoke would finally clear, as everyone would see All For One with a cracked mask, while All Might is on the ground unconscious. Yeah, it's that bad. As All For One would begin to laugh in his victory, as everyone was extremely scared for All Might's life. But while fear grips everyone's heart, Mothra's antennas would begin to twitch, as her wings would only glow, and a depressed look on her face would only brighten up with curiosity and joy, as Bakugo would look towards her saying, "Hey, what the hell's going on? What are you doing?" As Mothra would only, "He's back." As everyone would, kind of look towards her weird, as Todoroki would speak up saying, what do you mean he's back? What are you talking about?" And before that conversation could go any further, everyone would hear an extremely loud roar, as it would echo through the city. As you should already know what this roar is, as something would fall from the sky. Boom. In between All Might and All For One. And as the smoke would clear, everyone would see that it is Deku, as it seems that his hair is a lot more spikier than usual. And his glowing yellow eyes are glowing quite bright as he quickly grabs All Might, dashing towards the heroes with speed they have never seen before from Deku, then going right towards All For One as he stares him down. And you know, All For One would see this, saying, so you must be All Might's successor. Yes, I can sense his quirk inside you, along with other things. I can't wait to dissect you and use your body to finally find the power in all of the ancient creatures like you. As Deku would, kind of ignore this, because he's not in the mood right now, as he would just boom give All For One a right hook to the face, breaking more of his mask, as All For One is kind of sent flying as Deku would charge towards All For One, as All For One would get his bearings, then swing upon Deku, as Deku would only block this with his left hand, as he comes in to All For One with a right hook, and then he would go for a left, but All For One would dodge this, boom, kicking Deku at the side, but it did nothing, as the two's fists would continue to clash JoJo style, as it would easily speed up until Deku would block All For One's right hand in the palm of his in his palm, twisting it, and then elbowing All For One in his stomach. As everyone watching this is just shocked to see this kid whooping on the same villain that almost killed All Might. As Deku getting away from that elbow he gave All For One. All For One would get his bearings. As he would shoot that weird claw-like shit that he uses to steal cores from other people. As Deku would easily dodge this, and knee All For One in the face, sending him flying as he crashes towards the side of some rubble. And after that, Deku would jump in the air. As we all know, the would charge, you would see blue energy and electricity as it get even more spikier, as it would go up from the tip all the way to his head, as he goes for a loud roar, firing an atomic blast at All For One. At All For One. As All For One, I don't know if he has a blast or anything like that. But I'm gonna say that, since he has like some weird shape-shifting type shit with his arms, I'm gonna say that he'd make his like some sort of ray gun out of his arms as he would, blast towards Deku's atomic blast. Atomic blast, as the two beams would clash. Air pressure would be, flowing from it as, people who are too close are, kind of getting blown back. Not violently, but they're just, being pushed back a little bit. As the classes who are watching this, Mothra and Momo are happy to see this, as, the girls, most of the girls are, praising, are cheering for Deku, as some of the guys are also doing that, as Bakugo, mostly Bakugo, are extremely pissed seeing this, as, as we look towards, Class 1B, and, then the general or the support corps, whatever the fuck, all of them, as, most of them would be, would be quite amazed seeing Deku's power, as, Motomon, bitch ass Shinso, just be like, oh, fuck him, you're born with a special quirk and all that crap. But, as, the beams would, clash, it seems that All For One's beam is, somewhat overwhelming a little bit, until Deku would finally let out his rage as he would catch on fire. Yeah, you already know, burning Godzilla. As he would catch on fire, his hair would catch on fire as his beam would gradually turn red, easily overwhelming All For One, destroying his beam, hitting All For One as it, blows, as, it pretty much blows up in a huge explosion, similar to Hollow Ichigo's versus Hollow Ichigo when he shot that dude with the demon wings. I don't remember his name, but it starts with a U. I know his name starts with a U. But the blast would fire, the explosion would finally pass, as All For One would be dragging himself out of a crater as he speaks up, saying, You think this is over? You think you can actually defeat me? No. There's no defeating me. I am your god. I am all for one. You cannot destroy me. As, Deku, ignoring this, would, finally feel that he needs to finish this. So, yeah. He would begin to run towards All For One, as All For One would try to use a quirk to defend himself, but it's too late. As you already know Deku would jump up and hit All For One with the all famous drop kick to the face. He got big booted as All For One is sent flying as he kind of skids and bounces off the roads and pavement until he finally hits a wall. Boom, pretty much knocked out. As Deku would, finally land on the ground, as he would stand tall, his hair blowing into the wind as he raises his fist into the air, as everyone would begin to cheer. And that's where I'm gonna leave it off. Yeah, I know it feels like a bit of a cliffhanger, but not really. I don't leave joints on cliffhangers, and I'm gonna keep going with this series. As long as you guys like it or whatever. If you want me to keep going, if you want me to keep going with this, then I will. And because most people would end it off around right here, but no, dude, I'm not gonna half-ass that shit with this series. It's gonna keep going and keep going until my hero ends. This doesn't end. Okay. That's pretty much how it is. So yeah. Thank you for listening, good folks, and goodbye.